Chrissy and Claire, welcome to the Workplay Podcast.
Hello.
You guys are like all things strategy, copy, design, like you guys really do it all. I'm so excited because you guys are actually going to be introducing some new power-ups to our Workplay members. And I want just everyone to get to know you guys, your magic, your genius. But first, what is your business and how did you guys get into all of this?
Yeah, absolutely. So our business is helping entrepreneurs get their business, their brand online, whether it's taking their knowledge and their expertise and turning it into a digital offer and then selling it through automated funnels and high converting websites. Or some of our clients are just selling products through affiliate links. So, regardless, they're getting their brand online. They want to attract their ideal customers, and we help them do that and leverage automation to do it smarter, faster, and easier through automated funnels and through high converting websites.
I'm interested to know what each of your guys' roles are and how you guys even came together to that.
She and I have been attached to the hip since the beginning of time. And I followed her to the big city in Chicago and now living down in Atlanta. We've established this relationship that's both obviously sisters, friends, and now business partners.
We found ourselves launching a business called Grow Workspace together. And then our success through that, we generated, we brought in 1,400 paying subscribers in our first month. We built that subscription service up to 6,000 members. We generated our first million in 20 months. Through all of that amazing success, people started asking us, how do I create a course? How could I do a membership? Mm-hmm. And so originally at the time, I just sort of branched off. I wanted to start a podcast. Claire wasn't necessarily on board, didn't want to do the podcast with me. So I was like, okay, I'll just do it. And I'll start my own brand over here. And then as we just continued to serve our customers in the original first really successful business, we realized that, gosh, we're helping the people over here in my personal brand doing the same thing. It makes sense for us to be doing this together as well. And so we rebranded recently. And so it's kncreative.com now because it's the two of us. It's not just me anymore. We work really well together. I know a lot of people are like, sometimes it's challenging with partners, but really, I have my zone of genius and Claire has hers, and it really doesn't overlap. And that's why it works incredibly well. Yeah. I'm all things strategy and marketing and sales and mindset. And Claire is a genius at design and doing web design and graphic design and all of that. So I think it just makes it a lot easier that we're not really stepping on each other's toes because we're both good at different things.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool. I mean, not everyone could work with their sisters. So like that in itself is so cool that you guys have that. So if I'm getting this right, you guys have always had businesses together?
Yeah, I mean, like, yes and no. So, we also have a background in direct sales, me more than Claire. And so my background is a nurse. So not business related at all, but wanted to do more, wanted more time freedom, wanted more financial freedom, and didn't want to go back to school and have a bunch more debt. So I was just looking into different avenues to do my own thing, to make my own schedule and make as much money as, for as hard as I worked, I wanted the income to reflect that. Mm-hmm. And so just started saying yes to different things, found myself in direct sales after I said I wasn't going to do that. Then the idea of Grow Workspace came about. And that's when I reached out to Claire and I was like, look, I have this idea. I think it could be something really big, but like, I cannot for the life of me get it online to look good. Right? Like, how can you take what I want to communicate and create and put it out there?
We're also two very different people. As far as, I don't know if you're familiar with human design, but Chrissy's a manifest-generator. I'm a projector. So like my role is to help guide and sit back and ask for the invite. And I'm okay with the behind the scenes. Chrissy, as you can tell, is like always amped up, ready to go with new ideas. So it's like that balance of being able to feed off each other and recognize where our strengths are and how we show up. I mean, she's so great at strategy. So like with our clients, she takes the lead on that. And then when it comes to the nitty gritty, like nuanced stuff, I can take over when we get to that too.
It's hard to find someone that can do all of the things really well. What's the saying, like, jack of all trades, master of none? Yeah. But like with us, I think the really cool part is like you can get two masters like in their zone of genius. working on your business, you need copy and design. Like you need the messaging and you need design. And so oftentimes people are like, okay, I'm going to find someone to help me with the copy. And then they have to get it designed. They have to go find someone else because people want to work in their zone of genius. And so that's, I think, just the magical piece about working with us. And what our clients love is they don't have to go find a bunch of different sources. We're all in one. And we're not like a big agency or anything like that. It was literally just like, oh, we have a very small, intimate team that does all of the work on our business, whether it's like me doing strategy and copy or Amy helping with copy and Claire and Pam doing design. And our clients were like, well, could you do it for me? And we're like, yeah, actually we could. And so that was really how our Done For You services started, is we were like, why don't we take our team that has built these amazing businesses and we'll let you use our team essentially to get your business online and all of that. So it's worked out really, really well.
Because we have two different brains and angles, we've also worked through the kinks when it comes to building a brand from scratch. Like Chrissy will come to me with this big idea and this new freebie, and she'll have already written it out and tried to put it together in Canva. And I'm like, oh boy, okay, the meat is there. Let me just make it digestible, right? So someone actually wants to look at it and go through it. And that happens with our clients a lot. Like they're so amped and they're like, oh no, I can do the copy. And maybe they're great at that. They put something together and it needs a little bit of hand holding to figure out like what is the missing piece. We've been able to workshop it in our own business, having both sides, the strategy, the business, the ability to convert with words, and then also make sure the reader wants to actually read it.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be approachable for you to be able to even get them to stick around.
I love the fact that you guys have a separate business or like a separate offering that you can use your strategies on, that so you know that it works. I think sometimes when you hire a service provider, they just have a talent maybe, and they're not actually growing the business with that talent. And I love how you guys mix the two. I'm interested to know, like, those 1,400 people in 1 month, like, what was the strategy there? That in alone is amazing. And is that the same strategy that you weave in with your offerings?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, why did we grow so big and so fast? We did have an audience that we were able to tap into. Long story short, I had come up with this idea, basically ran a virtual summit, had no idea what summits were, didn't even know that's what I was doing, but I just invited some speakers in to speak over this topic over the week. And this is where I learned the power of collaboration. That group grew to 45,000 people in a matter of 4 weeks. However, Grow Workspace, that business wasn't even a thought in our mind at this point in time. I was just trying to use it to grow my direct sales business. And so when we had this business opportunity for Grow Workspace, it was like, okay, I have this Facebook group, like we could tap into it, but it's not all of our ideal customers. We have to be able to figure out and pull out our ideal customers out of there. And so that's where this strategy that we teach about freebies, you've got to have, there is so much strategy behind the freebie. So yeah, anyone can put out a freebie, but is it actually going to convert to sales? And that was something that we did really right and have just implemented that moving forward on different free offerings and converted. And so that we teach our clients that strategy, but it was really just the perfect freebie to draw out that ideal customer and then convert them through the automated funnel to what our offering was.
And to give your audience an example, that summit was all about like homeopathic health and wellness and implementing how to like leverage a healthy lifestyle in any profession. So she brought in a bunch of different professions. Our freebie was taking that audience and giving them tools to utilize to grow their direct sales business specifically. So pulling out just people who wanted to learn into people who wanted to act. And that was who we brought into our subscription community. And those are the people that wanted to stick around because they wanted to take action. So we really leveraged a giant audience with a very niche freebie to bring in the people that made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so good because I feel like so many times people are like, okay, I'm just gonna create a lead magnet because that's what I'm told I have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, from the actual like thing of the lead magnet, like what should the lead magnet be to like the funnel that happens afterwards. I'm so excited that you guys are going to be offering done for you lead magnet, sales pages, these funnels for workplay members because you need a partner who has A, done it, and B, understands the strategy. And I love that you guys have already done it. You've already seen results on yourself, not only on your clients, but yourselves as well, which is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you don't have the strategy behind it, I talk about this all the time, like automations. Our people love automating, right? Things that happen behind the scenes so that you can sell while you sleep or while you're out having brunch with your girlfriend or getting a massage. But if there's not strategy behind the automated process, the funnels, the emails, whatever that is,
Mhm.
you won't convert. And so if you're getting a whole funnel built, if you're getting a freebie and then an email sequence and a sales page and all of that, there needs to be strategy behind it. Someone might say, I don't want help with strategy, and that's fine. And they're just like, just design it. Okay. But I think that's where I love like looking at the strategy. And that's something that we can offer to people is we can take a look and see, does this make the most sense? Before we spend all this time and energy, resources, investment creating it, is this going to get you the best result? And really taking a strategic look, deep diving into it and making sure that it will.
Let's just take one funnel, for example, a lead magnet funnel. What makes a good lead magnet for really any industry? What do you want to look for?
I would say you basically work backwards. So you take your offer and then you work backwards and you say, what is the first step, a little win, something tangible that they can take to lead them to that offer? So, for example, our freebie was called 90 Days of IPAs, Income Producing Activities. So, we wanted to draw out this person. The group was called Essential Oils for Professionals. So, people were in there using oils and selling oils. So, we wanted to attract people that were selling oils. So 90 days of income producing activities, we basically took them through 90 days of things that they could do to sell oils. And then the offer that we had on the back end, so we gave them the knowledge. Here's what you can do. You can share with a friend. You can post on social media. You can, these different things, host a class. And then our offer was, here are pre-made resources, classes, posts that you can just copy and paste and use. So then that was a no-brainer. It was like, okay, so they've just told me how I have to share, and now I could just pay for the content to then share it. And so it made sense. So you want to take your offer and you want to work backwards.
Mhm.
Sometimes your freebie could be getting that person to the first step. What do I need them to know and understand so that they want my offer? That could maybe be the strategy and purpose behind your freebie.
Okay. Okay. This is super helpful. Is there such a thing as giving away too much information in your freebie? And like, what does that look like if so?
I would say yes and no. There's different schools of thought in terms of give them tons of value so they can. Some people that say, oh, if you give away everything, then they're like, imagine what they're giving behind the paid offer, right? So I'm of the sense of give them an experience, help them. You want them to get a win. But one of the other key secrets is to breaking limiting beliefs. And you can do that inside your free offer. You can do that through your email funnel, and you've got to be doing it in the process. So, what's going to hold them back from your offer? And then making sure that you're taking those barriers out of the way so that it's a no brainer. So, that's just one of the little pieces of the strategy that we use. But your freebie, you want them to get a transformation from it, not the full transformation, but you want them to get something, because if they don't get anything, they're not going to think that you have anything to offer them. Right?
Okay. I think that's key. What should be on there in terms of limiting beliefs? What tangibly does that look like? How can someone like understand their person's limiting belief, if
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes
Big question, actually. It definitely requires understanding your ideal client. So, going through and making sure you know exactly who you're speaking to. Chrissy and I actually did a workshop a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, went through our exact ideal client, who they are, what they do for fun, what they don't like to do, how they dress, if they are single, do they have a family, all of that. You go through all of that. You create the storyline of this person. And then you take a step back and you go, okay, what's going to stop them from moving forward in their business or wanting this thing? What are the things so one of ours was, I'm not skilled enough in technology to be able to build out a website. And so then in your conversation with your audience, you're saying, actually, we have an easy button for you. We have the template shop or done for you services. But this would be more related to a template shop. So like we have it pre-built with all of the animation, and you just have to plug and play your brand colors and pop in your photos and your copy, and like pretty much good to go. So we're breaking those limiting beliefs by sharing. I mean, Chrissy, that's not necessarily with a freebie, but that's big umbrella how you break a limiting belief. Now, doing it in a freebie that might show up as a masterclass that you have pre-recorded, that you're talking to them, talking head style. Chrissy, what are some other examples that you can think of?
Just the other day, I actually recorded a podcast with someone, and then we hit the stop record button, and we just had genuine conversation about what she was doing in her business and what. And I said, "So how's it going?" And she goes, "I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do it." And I'm like, "Why? Like this is so amazing. You have so much knowledge. People want this." She goes, "I just don't think very many people are going to buy it." Boom, right there, limiting belief. Yep. Limiting belief for our ideal customer, that not enough people are going to buy what I have. Mm-hmm. So in whether you're teaching a masterclass and that's your freebie, that's where you could break that limiting belief, or in your email funnel, there's different ways to break limiting beliefs, different strategies. But that is something, if someone believes to their core that they actually can't sell enough of their offer to make any money, they're not going to invest in our program or get done for you services or want a website. They don't believe that they can be successful. So I have to break that. And again, there are strategies and ways that you do that. And so whether I would say the limiting beliefs in your freebie happen mostly if you're doing a masterclass or a webinar. Whereas if you're just giving a checklist or a guide, you're giving someone a quick win there. And then you want to leverage your automated emails, your funnel. That's your opportunity to break those limiting beliefs before you give the pitch. So that when you give the pitch for your offer, it's like, there is nothing stopping them. They believe they can do it. Anything that they thought would be stopping them, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's not going to be a problem. I'm in," kind of thing. So you have to be paying attention. Just talk to people, ask them, do more listening than talking when you're in front of somebody. So often we love talking about ourselves and this is what we do and this is how we help. And to be honest, you'll get way more valuable information for you and your business if you just ask them, tell me what's going on.
It's like being very curious about what the pain points are, what they're experiencing. Like an example for workplay is like people believe that they're not a creative person. They're more of a logical person. So they can't create the visuals that maybe so-and-so created inside of the process. And I learned that from just talking to people. Exactly like you said, getting on a strategy session with someone and them just saying, well, I'm more of a logical person. I'm not a creative person. So this process is going to be really hard for me. And I'm like, no. Yeah. So yeah, I agree. Totally being very curious. I'm interested to know, for those of us that just don't understand even what a funnel is, a lead magnet, and then like our offering, like where does all of these key players fit in a line, basically, for like a customer experience? Like where and when do these come up? How do we push them out? What does this look like?
Yeah, so it'd start with your audience, or the lead. We call them leads. They're people, right? They're real human beings. But our potential customer. So, and you can find them in lots of different places, whether you're leveraging social media, whether y'all are listening to this episode right now. So there's potential, right? You're just hearing about our brand right now. Then there's the opportunity to invite someone in to your ecosystem. And of course, we want to get them on our email list. You could lose your social media in a day. I don't care how many followers. That happened to me. Thousands of followers. My Instagram shut off instantly. Had I not in the middle, I think it was like close to one of our launches. And so it was like, if I didn't have my email list, I would have been panicked. Like I wouldn't have sold anything. So you want to bring people into your ecosystem. And so that's where you use your free offering, whether it's a checklist, a guide, a masterclass, a webinar, a free strategy call, like something that they want to trade their email address for. And this is where the strategy goes. You have to position it in a way that they're like, okay, I'll give you my email address for that thing. Right. And do it in a way that where they're like begging you, like, take my email address. I experienced that with someone the other day on a call. She was like talking about taxes and she was sharing all this valuable information about taxes and how to save money on taxes. And she was like, if you want the tax spread, I have a tax saving spreadsheet for you. Although she wasn't using automation. So then she was like, you'll have to email me for it. And then, and she goes, and it's tax season and it's really busy. So I'm probably not gonna be able to respond. And I was just like, oh no. Like, and literally the chat was blowing up and I was like, I want the tax spreadsheet. And it was like, send me too, please. And literally y'all, people were putting their email addresses in the chat. Just like, here's my email address. And I was like, first of all, she said, email her. But like, second of all, like they're literally throwing their email address at her, right? She positioned it in a way that was like, but then she was just missing that automated piece. So ideally, if that's you, don't feel bad. No worries. We all start there. But this is where the automation piece comes into play, where you then set up an automated system where you can say, click the link below, or now people are using ManyChat and Instagram. So it's like comment below with the keyword tax spreadsheet. Yeah. And then the system, the automated system will send them the link. They put in their name and email, and then you automatically, the email automatically gets sent, sends them the freebie. And then you have automated emails go out. That's your, the progressing through your funnel. So a funnel is big at the top and small on the bottom, right? So we have a lot of people. We maybe start with 100 people listening to this. And then some people opt into the free offering. And then some people keep opening those emails and reading. And by the end, we do have a small amount that actually convert. That's the sales game, right? It's a numbers game. But the idea is that you do convert to a sale or to whatever that call to action is. Maybe your funnel actually just really wants to grow your YouTube channel. So it doesn't always have to be a sale at the end of, quote, a funnel, but you want to have a clear direction of what that purpose and intention is behind the funnel. Is it to sell something? Is it to grow your YouTube subscriber list? Is it to book a call? Things like that. So that really is from the start of people just getting to know who you are and hearing about your brand all the way down to taking that action, whether it's purchasing or whatnot. That is really the funnel. And the more that you can automate, the more things that you can do, have time with your family or spend areas time on podcasts or talking or having conversations.
And is this strategy strictly for like online businesses, or can like service providers, brick and mortar businesses, can they use this strategy? Or does it look any different, or is it generally the same thing?
Yeah, it's the same. Regardless of your business, if you sell skincare, you want to get people on your email list so that you can send them messages. Black Friday, right? So you can send out an email. If you're not collecting an email list, it's going to be hard to connect with people. My local chiropractor that I go to, she does these sound baths every one Tuesday every single month. Well, the fact that she has my email address, she can send me that information. Now, let's say I wasn't a client and she was doing things to get people on her email list. She could invite them to this free sound bath. They could then get that email. They could show up at this space. They could have this experience and be like, this was really cool. Maybe I want to think about doing chiropractor. So I would say every single business needs to grow an email list. I don't care if you have a brick and mortar. I don't care if you're providing services. I don't care if you're selling products. Even if you're selling affiliate products through someone else, like you want to build your own email list. And so the strategy is really the same. Again, thinking about your end thing that you want to do and what's going to make that perfect freebie.
We're bombarded with things, not just advertisements, but like things in our face all day long, right? Just Instagram memes, commercials on the TV, just like all of it. And if you're not reminding people that you exist, they're not going to remember, right? So you have to be consistently showing up in front of them. And you can only do that if there's a way for you to be in front of them.
Yeah. So email is a great way to, because the algorithms are there to help you, but oftentimes they don't always put you in front of your same people over and over again. So being able to email people regularly, at least a monthly newsletter, if not a weekly thing to show up in their inbox, they might not open it. They might not open it for 3 weeks in a row, but guess what? They're seeing that name. They haven't unsubscribed yet. They're like, oh, Lyric is still in my inbox. Workplay. Okay, Workplay. I'm not ready for my photos yet, but like Workplay is still hanging out. I'm still learning from them. And then they'll either open an email or they'll unsubscribe. And it's okay if they unsubscribe, but eventually they'll open that email and then they'll be like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. People need to see things 7, 20 times. I think the number is probably going up now, but before they take action. So it's really important to get in front of them. People still open emails. Don't think that like email is dead. Just because you don't open your email or don't open every single email doesn't mean that people aren't. During one of our launches, I sent out an impromptu email because something had happened and I was like, I have to address this. I sent out that email and $39,000 generated from that one email. Because I said people open emails, people take action on emails. So just because you don't doesn't mean everyone else does. Stats like 30% is great for people to open. And just think, even though maybe it says consistently 30% people open, it could be a different 30% each week if you're sending weekly emails. So really, ours will say, like when we email our whole list for one of our brands, I think it is about a 35% open rate. But when I actually click on send to all of the people who have opened an email in the last 90 days, it's more like 70%. So that just tells me like, okay, it's not just 30% people opening. Not everyone's going to open every email. Mm-hmm. Unless you're one of the OCD people that must open and remove the bubble or get rid of it, exit it out. That's the long answer for regardless of what business you're in. Yeah, you need a website, you need an email list, and you need great visuals.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that kind of takes us into the visual strategy with this because everything online, I am just a firm believer, you just need specific visuals. If you have specific visuals for your lead magnet funnel, it's almost like what you're saying. If you choose to look at your lead magnet like its own offering and put as much effort and work into it, like it pays off down the line. And I just fully believe that these are revenue driving projects, which means they need revenue driving visuals. When someone's inside of the Workplay Method, they do quarterly shoots every single year. So every 3 months they do a shoot. What's a good way, like if you know someone's doing these 4 shoots, like how would you suggest them using a lead magnet funnel and strategies to organize their 4 shoots for their lead magnets?
Plan out your quarterly launch ideas or what your business plan is each quarter. For instance, if your goal in Q1 is to just build a list, and Q2 is where you're going to launch maybe a open close cart offer, you're going to focus in month 1 on your freebie more so than your masterclass, right? This is just an example.
Yeah.
That's how we do it. That freebie, whatever it is, for instance, if it is some sort of mini PDF or something like that, you want to make sure that you're planning out what that looks like for your audience. So with Workplay, you have your brand, you have hypothetically, they're coming to you, they're establishing the brand, their colors. For that shoot, whatever they want to create to promote that ebook, whether it's B-roll for their Instagram or new photos for their sales pages, they want to coordinate that visual and that energy to that offer. I know you guys help with this as establishing like what color palette their wardrobe is going to be to match their brand for that lead magnet and that sales page.
I totally agree with this because we just launched our own lead magnet. I wish I would have found you guys before I launched it because I feel like you could have like just amplified it. But we did launch a workbook and it's free. And we did a full photo shoot around the workbook. Like we printed out the pages. We did fun things like throwing the pages all in the air. The Workplay team had such a good time, but those visuals can only be used for the workbook. And I think they're more powerful that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Someone's like, oh, wow. Like this isn't just like some lead magnet someone like made on a Google Doc. Like this had thought put into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it creates not only credibility, but professionalism that all comes together. Chrissy released her book recently and we did a photo shoot prior to that. It was a rebranding photo shoot, but we wanted to capture some images of her book, but the book hadn't been published yet. So we did some workarounds, but now it's okay. Now we can promote that with the real tangible book. We need another photo shoot, right? So you can only do so much if you're limited. So that's why I said quarterly planning out, like what is coming up and what can you do at those times for that particular thing. There are times where I'm thinking about an image for a sales page and what would be really nice to have, like a picture of Chrissy and I like working together at a computer, and I'll write that down for the next shoot, right? What are the things that we're missing that can be filled as you're building out your brand and as you're building out your site and as you're building out these freebie opt-in pages? And you could do stock all day, but it just doesn't feel as authentic as your actual face in front of your audience.
I totally agree. I can't with the stock images. I'm like, what are we doing here? I'm like, I know that there's these memberships out there that you can get pretty stock photos, but there's something about the custom content. You can dive so much deeper.
And how many hours have you spent trying to find the perfect stock photo?
I know.
I mean, I'm super OCD about like exactly, and it's about your brand. Like even when we're teaching our students and building out pages for people, your imagery should reflect the words on the page. We'll write copy for limiting beliefs or connection points. And maybe that's the connection point is like you feel lost in your health and are not sure how to move forward. Like that image should reflect that feeling, right? So having examples of that visually on your site is important. And stock images you can find for things like that, but it only goes so far.
Oh my God, 100%. We actually, Workplay just did a shoot, and it was a themed shoot around like receiving money, receiving gifts, almost like manifesting, but the word was receiving. And the visuals were so like, let's have our arms open. Let's have this type of emotion. The visuals are connecting with the copy. And that's what I love about what you guys do, because you have the design, you have the copy, you have the strategy. Once you have that, you have a really clear roadmap inside of the method. Like, okay, it's like, oh, that's the word that I'm trying to evoke. That's the emotion that I'm trying to evoke. And sometimes like having a little bit of help, especially on the copy.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like to just like make sure the audience knows, like, done is better than perfect. I say this all the time. So when you're like, I wish I would have found you before, it's like, you can always update your content, and you should. Now, when it comes to like new images, that doesn't mean you have to get a new photo shoot every single quarter to freshen up your freebie. That's not going to be valuable. More like what Claire said, think about what you have planned and be strategic. Yes, you want regular photo shoots for new, fresh content, but maybe it's not to replace the imagery on your freebie. Hopefully that's pretty evergreen and can stand true. But YouTube video thumbnails, or like I've got the same like pointing up or like pointing to the side or whatever, and like the same shirt. And I'm like, okay, I got to freshen this up a bit. Or social media. And so if you're leveraging those platforms, you're going to want new content. Or again, done is better than perfect. We've got the one image with it looks like I'm holding my real book. It wasn't. So like, spoiler alert, until we get our new, but
Photoshop is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, Photoshop is great. But like we just did a book club, or in the process will be done soon. And I wanted some good book club. So I'm trying to find stock photos, and I'm like, this is just not what I'm looking for. So it's like, put that on the list of get some type of image. And that's where I turn to Claire, or like where I like love that you all exist, because that is not my zone of genius. So I could have this idea, but it could translate horribly. And I just need to go to the people that like, that is their zone of genius, and be like, this is what I want to convey, and then turn it over. And then what y'all do is just magical. Both like you, Lyric, with the Workplay, everything that you create is just so magical, and it really just brings it to life, and you need that for your brand. Yeah. And then same like with Claire, it's like the words go so far, and then when you put design, it's digestible and like creates even more emotion and leads you through in a certain way. So it's just, you need all the pieces.
Yeah. And I always tell people like your 4 shoots, like they should be 4 different projects. If you think about them as projects, so lead magnet might be one project. Second shoot might be okay, maybe like a book club. I know that I'm launching a book club, so I want to go all in on my visual campaign for the book club. Those are considered projects, and you don't have to have, like you were saying, you don't have to have new visuals for the same project. You need to make sure that you're doing revenue driving projects though every single quarter.
Yeah, and here's the deal. If you try and cram it all into one photo shoot, guilty. That was us for our last photo shoot. It's stressful. So
Oh
we
my
were like,
God, I
okay,
know.
we have one chance. We have this one photo shoot that we have booked. We need photos for our rebrand for our website. We need photos for YouTube thumbnails. We need photos together for Instagram. We also need photos for book. And like, y'all, it was too much. It was too much to do.
Chaotic.
We couldn't get everything in. It was a little chaotic. We did it. We made it work. But that's where I love strategically planning, having if you're signed up for the quarterly shoots, you can space it out. You can really be present and do a really good job with what you're trying to capture instead of trying to cram it all in.
Oh my gosh, that makes me cringe. I'm like, no more traditional brand shoots. I'm like, we got to split this up because it allows your vision to be wider too. You can be more present with the project that you're creating for. So, why do you guys think it's worth it to do this visual strategy in the workplay method 4 times a year and pair it with your lead gen strategy that you guys all do for us and the workplay members?
Yeah. So, how we were talking about before in terms of the visuals and being able to plan it out so you're not so stressed for time, so you can really focus and bring that to life. But then pairing it with content in terms of lead magnets or sales pages or your website, it just allows you to not be trying to do everything yesterday. And like that can just create a really stressful and chaotic place if you're feeling, and it will bring on those feelings of like you always have things to do, you can never get through your to-do list. And this takes practice for me because I'm a manifesting generator, and so I want to be doing all the things all the time, but really being able to stop and plan out the year and the quarters to say like, what are we going to focus on? Not just what do we need, really it's what are we focusing on? And Claire's talked about this before. Are we focusing on our lead magnet now? And then we're going to do next quarter, we're doing a launch. And then the next quarter, we're doing a retreat. And so you have these different pockets and really focusing your energy there so you can do it well, creating content for that, whether it's a funnel, and then having the visuals to pair it with. So doing it regularly throughout the year just decreases your stress and allows you to really put everything into it and do a really good job as opposed to trying to do everything at one time and just splitting your eggs between all of the baskets and just not doing it very well. I would say definitely it decreases stress. And then just really wanting fresh visuals I think just keeps things fresh. Again, you don't have to redo your freebie every quarter. You shouldn't. But we have multiple freebies now. So we started with one. You're going to get more clarity on your ideal customer and say, oh, this is something else that they'd be interested in. I want to launch this other freebie and bring people into my email list with this new one. And so now we need some more visuals.
The businesses are always evolving. And as you work through how you want to bring people into your funnel, that is also going to evolve. Yes, automation is great. You can set it up and forget it. But true entrepreneurs, they're going to set it up and then look for the next thing, right? Not just be like, peace out, I'm done. my business is just going to be fine, right? You're setting up this automation, this funnel. Cool, it's a success. How can I replicate that and expand and grow? So with every single week, quarter, as you're working through and establishing how you're fine-tuning your funnel, giving content to your audience, you're gonna probably need more and or different things, right? So keeping tabs. We have a very clear understanding of exactly what we offer to our audience and how we want to offer it. But we're constantly creating new sales pages and freshening up some things. And I'm like writing a wish list of all the things we need for our, that would make it easier. I don't have to fish around for old photos and figure out what feeling actually lands for this particular thank you, congratulations, you're in page, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've used one a million times. How can we freshen it up and make it feel a little bit more like it's for this particular audience? Really, my comment on that would be that your business is always evolving. So knowing that you have the opportunity to plan ahead for the next photo shoot, the next brand shoot, the next thing that you want to do takes the stress off of, or the anxiety off of, I don't know. I don't even know where to get this from. I don't know what to do. I don't know exactly who to contact. How, are they going to be the right fit? We've gone through a handful of photographers, and some are amazing. Some are great. But if you knew that consistently, you didn't even have to think about it and search for it.
I also feel like it holds you accountable to actually launching those things. Because I don't know about you, Claire, but when I'm designing something and I don't have the visual, I'm like stalling. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
God, this looks so bad, and I need to do the photo shoot before I can finish this thing.
Yep. I know that feeling.
If you guys could give Workplay members one piece of advice for going through this method while creating this lead gen strategy with you guys, because we are going to be launching some power ups, what would that be?
Oh, that's a cool. Usually my advice is done is better than perfect, and with action comes clarity. But I think for this particular thing, I think, whether you're just starting out or you've been in your business and you haven't invested in the visuals yet, this is the time. Like, this is your sign that it's up leveling, that you've been doing maybe done is better than perfect, and it's gotten you so far. And now you're at the point where it's like, all right, it's time for me to take this serious, to take my business serious, and to invest in getting the visuals that I need, or it's time for me to invest in some support. We get people a lot of times that launch their website, and again, I am done is better than perfect. So if you can just do something, just don't let it stop you from moving forward. But there comes a point in time where you only had so much knowledge, or only have so much knowledge in that area. And if you're going to take this serious and you really want your business to grow and scale, you've got to turn to some experts to learn something. So whether it's going and learning, downloading your workbook and learning from there and applying, or actually jumping in and saying like, yes, I'm going to invest in my business and I'm going to do these quarterly shoots, or, okay, now is the time for me to invest in my website. And you know what? I don't have the time. I just want to turn it over and have people who know what they're doing just hand me my beautiful website on a silver platter with the strategy and everything built in. Like, it's time to do it. So I would say my tip is done is better than perfect until it's time to level up. And then it's time to invest in your business and get help and support so that it's never going to be perfect. It's never. So let's just, all the perfectionists out there, let's just get rid of that. But we can always make things better. And you have the opportunity, like as you're listening, you have the opportunity, you have people in your network, you have us now to support you in this journey and just really make everything that you do really magical.
Mine would be know your strengths and weaknesses.
Ooh, that's good.
And truly recognize what they are and know when to hand it off, right? If your strengths are in teaching people through one-on-one, and writing copy for an email is a weakness because that feels so disjointed and disconnected, then you should have someone else do it for you. Right? Like, you're gonna, like you said, if you're trying to design something and you don't have a good visual for it, you're just stuck. The resistance that happens when you don't feel confident in something. And I saw a meme the other day that was like, it just took me 15 minutes to do the thing that I put off for the last 3 months. Like, that's what you do. That's where the brain goes. It goes into this fight or flight freeze mode when you're like, I don't even know how to do it. I don't want to. So you just put it off. So know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and know when to hire it out. A lot of your audience can recognize where they're good at and where it's time to just, like Chrissy said, level up and let others do the heavy lifting.
Oh, so good, especially when it comes to anything like visual and strategy. That's where you can really see an ROI immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. If any of you listening would like to implement Claire and Chrissy's lead gen strategies, they're done for you funnels, all the good stuff, while using the Workplay method to create your visual marketing campaigns, DM us funnel at Workplay Branding on Instagram, and you're going to receive exclusive podcast details on all of this strategy, our power ups together, and we can actually get your lead magnets up and going, sales funnels up and going. Claire and Chrissy are going to take care of you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Thank
This has been
you.
so fun. Thanks.